From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. Joseph Biden, president, says that checks will be going out because he says that Build Back Better Act will pass. But also being told is the Republicans saying that CR for Stimulus 3.0 will merge with 2.0. The House and Senate versions will merge together, and that will give economic recovery to millions of Americans. Wow. In this recording, we'll go over all these legislation, starting with the Build Back Better Act, then to CR for Stimulus 1.0, the creation of this channel, 2.0 that is passed in the House. The 3.0 that will pass in the Senate, says the Republicans. And you're going to learn why the breaking news today is that there's a new element of bipartisanship you've not seen on this channel. For over a year, this changes the equation as means of Democrats and Republicans want money to go out to Americans for economic recovery in the face of the pandemic. New economic data suggesting economic recovery needs additional assistance, and I have the latest breaking news on that as well. CR for Stimulus 4.0 also heating up with the Russian invasion of Ukraine advanced. The potential of an invasion no less than 7 days away. I've been reporting on this months away, and today it's now sooner than inevitable. While the latest breaking news today on Afternoons, then we'll be turning to the big issue of the president's opportunity to repurpose money and SS200, how it works across the board of my analysis. Plus, we'll look at thousands of dollars of checks you can get right now. It's third stimulus, and viewers have gotten $10,000 to $20,000 this week as well. We got a lot of money in a big recording with a lot of legislation at issue and a lot of brand new breaking news. I'm excited you're here. It's a brand new recording. It's a brand new day, and everything is changing. Hopefully, they also change the lobster shorts. I've had enough of that. And with that, let's get underway with Afternoons LALATE. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day. And away we go. The House of Representatives has passed two bodies of legislation. The first one is the Build Back Better Act, and now in the Senate. The second one is CR for Stimulus 1.0. Both now headed to the incredible Senate, where the Senate changes will be robust. I'll go over the latest details breaking today and why there's an element of bipartisanship you've not seen on this channel for over a year. Senate changes that would merge the two legislations together are the talk of the town with both Republicans and Democrats. Wow. Then we'll be looking at CR for Stimulus 4.0, which also goes by bipartisanship. It's huge. You haven't seen this ever before on this channel, and it's heating up today across the board. We'll be looking at the big money at issue of the recon and the CRs, and third stimulus with the opportunity for you to get tens of thousands of dollars today. Viewers continue to get it. I'm going to show you how to get it as well. We'll be looking at the suggestion of SS200 debuted 2 years ago from Liz Warren and Joe Biden and how to get it today across the land. More of it than initially thought. This would be 12 months, 6 months? No, a lifetime. I have the latest details on that in this recording as well. But we also have the big exciting details, of course, of MSC and Joe Biden saying he's ready to send out checks from the Build Back Better Act as soon as possible. And with that, I want you, part of this family, go under the video right now and subscribe. You're watching the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America, LALATE, trying to get to number 2. Who else records on Super Bowl weekend other than me? Because there's always breaking news, and it's always new, and it's always here. You're up to date by the minute. Hit that alert button, but first, subscribe. Make the effort to hit that finger right on that subscribe button right now to become part of this channel. Bring us from number 3 to number 2 among cable, broadcasts and internet broadcasters. Then like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. The membership newsletter goes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. Has all the big money in there. And sign up for the LALATE alerts, a link to it, which is under the description of this video. Let's go over that Build Back Better Act first. And then we'll be cutting into the CRs for stimulus. The Build Back Better Act has lots of checks in there, folks, lots of them. Those checks amount to somewhere between $15,000 to $60,000 of checks. So much money. 3 clusters, 3 add-ons. Let's look at each of them one at a time. Get your pen and paper out to take notes, and here we go. In that first cluster, hazard pay got in there. 1 more year, expanded under third stimulus. It's the earned income tax credit for my essential workers. Learn about it at irs.gov. You can also learn at irs.gov the CTC, child tax credit. It expanded 1 more year under fourth stimulus, first expanded under third stimulus. That's $3,600 approximately for low-income families. They got in there the $4,000 of elder care for care of elder people, $4,000 of care for young children. They got in there in this first of 3 clusters also the incredible $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle, $550 checks for the Pell Grant recipients and home repairs if you live in a low-income community. Wow, that is a lot of money, folks, and we're just at the first of 3 clusters of checks. We got 3 add-ons, but I'm going to show you how to get tens of thousands of dollars today. Viewers are getting it every single day. Stay to the very end. We have a lot of money for you in this recording. You want to listen to the whole recording to the very end. Now, let's go into that first add-on of checks. It comes here from Southern California, home of the Super Bowl 2022. It comes from Maxine Waters. She wanted to give you this money. She got it in there on the house side. What is it? It is for the first-time home purchase. You heard me right. She wanted to give you $25,000. She got a little bit less. This is money for your first-time home purchase given to the seller from the federal government during the time of escrow. Wow. Then let's turn now into the second of 3 clusters, home repairs and paid leave. These home repairs are to weatherize your home. Then the paid leave, a lot of money. What is paid leave? Is if you have to stay home due to sickness or illness, you or a family member in the household. So let's go over the money, because, folks, it's a lot of it. It is $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. If you make $35,000 or more per year, it's $800 a week. $15,000 annual salary, $400 a week. 4 to 6 weeks per year. So, yeah, this is $4,000 to $6,000, folks. A lot of money, isn't it? It's just huge. Now, if you don't work, but your son or daughter does work, and they're going to get the money if they have to take off from work to take you to the doctor's office, 1099, W-2, I don't care. They're going to get the check if they have to take off from work to take you to the doctor's office. And there you go. That is the incredible paid leave. It is the second cluster. Time for that second add-on. And it comes from Bob Casey out of Pennsylvania. I think you remember what the number is. If you're in the live chat right now, write that number. It is free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. Do you remember it? I think you do. There you go. Someone just wrote it. It is $250 billion of free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. Wow. They got it in there, which brings us now to the third of 3 clusters. Here we go. Free school meals for all, checks. Free internet, checks. Money for the farmers, checks. Independent contractor, checks. And then seniors, 2 checks on the house, 3 coming on the Senate side. On the house, they got checks for hearing. They got checks for the Medicaid gap fix. More about that in a second. And then the House members vowed to add 3 other checks, which are dental, vision, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare. And guess what? That's consistent with what we're talking about with adding other checks on the Senate side. What is that other program of checks that they would add in there? What are those 3 letters? You know what they are. Write them in the live chat right now. Let me see if I see it. There we go. I saw it. MSC. What is MSC? Who gets it? How much? When would you get it? What's the breaking news on this today as well? How do you advocate for it across the land? Let's go over all the details. MSC stands for Monthly IRS Stimulus Check. It is a program that would add checks that would come out monthly from the IRS to the Build Back Better Act that already has $60,000 of multiple checks in there. So this is just more checks on top of that. What differentiates these is these come from IRS. So who gets them, folks? Well, the eligibility is the same as a third stimulus check. Those legislators represented tens of thousands of viewers this channel since last spring. Let's go over that eligibility right now. Single individual, 75,000 less annual income, you get it. Congratulations. Married couple, 150,000 less annual income, you get it. Congratulations, double it. Family of four, you get it as well. Congratulations, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or railroad benefits, you get it as well. Adult dependents would also get it. It is not income. It ain't taxable. It comes nationwide, not on a state-by-state basis, so state governors cannot interfere with it. And it would go off the most recent tax return, the 1090, the most recent tax return you filed. So if that had a direct deposit account listed in there, that's how you get paid, otherwise in the mail. Which then brings us to the question of how much? Well, legislators represent to tens of thousands of viewers channel. It's $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for up to 6 months. And you need to advocate to those legislators across the land. And those legislators you want to advocate to, of course, are the following. Advocate about once a week, and they are Casey, Coons, Warren, Wyden, Sanders, Schumer. Advocate for its inclusion. But the next question across the land is, how do they get it in there? Let's go over the details of it right now. They get it in there during the Senate subcommittee when the senators are modifying the legislation. Let's go over what that means. The Build Back Better Act, passed in November, has thousands of pages in there, passed by Democrats with thousands of checks. Now, the House Democrats put checks in there, but the Senate Democrats want to add more checks on top of that. They do that when it lands in the Senate subcommittee. The Senate subcommittee would first take the legislation from the House, modify it by adding more checks in there, create a Senate bill, which has not yet been created, send it to a Senate floor vote, and vote on it. Then to a Senate vote-a-rama, 2 days, and then to the president's desk to sign. Done. But is there an easier way to get a check in your hand in addition to everything that's in the Build Back Better Act? And there is. 3 Saturdays ago, I debuted it on this channel. But viewers who are longstanding viewers of this channel, which is now at about its 1.5 year mark, had heard it before. And they said, bring it on back, LALATE. Bring it on back. And what is it? It's called CR for Stimulus. CR for Stimulus is based upon the concept of putting a check into a small bill that's just a few hundred pages long, that has an inherent deadline, fast turnaround time, and goes by bipartisan support. So 3 Saturdays ago, I said, you want to bring it back? And they said yes. What is CR for Stimulus? Let's go over the history of it, which brings us back to the year 2020. At the start of 2020, we had the start of the pandemic, and millions of Americans got a first stimulus package check or checks, but then that was it, and you needed more. And so we waited for something called the second stimulus package. The negotiations on the second stimulus package started in the spring of 2020. The negotiators were Nancy Pelosi on behalf of the Democrats, Speaker of the House, Steve Mnuchin, Treasury Secretary, on behalf of the Republicans. They negotiated over this package that was supposed to be thousands of pages in length. In the spring, no deal. In the summer, no deal. In the fall, no deal. In the winter, no deal. And by the end of the winter, I thought to myself, wait a second, this is not working as we planned. So I said, we need something else. What did I want? I wanted something exactly like a CR. I wanted something that is small as a bill, just a few hundred pages length, has bipartisan support, has an inherent deadline, and you could slide a check in there and it would go out because the bill would be done fast. I looked high and low, over and under, divided, and finally I found it. A continuing resolution. What is a continuing resolution, or CR, like Charles Robert? It is a budget bill that's done every 3 to 6 months to fund the federal government, the national parks, the federal buildings. And I found it and I thought to myself, let me make that recording. Let me explain to viewers my creation, and let me also be prepared for the criticism. And in December 2020, I went on air. I said, hey, everybody, it's LA. It's December 2020. We have been looking 11 months at Nancy and Steve negotiating this thing called second stimulus. It ain't going anywhere. So you want to do something else? I've come up with an idea, a creation, my own creation, and it's called CR for stimulus. If you know the hashtag, write it in the live chat right now. The concept is to insert a check into a continuing resolution, which currently has a deadline December 2020. Why do I like this? Because they got to get it done. Continuing resolutions do not roll over months. They may roll over a day, a week, maybe a month, but not months. Number two, bipartisan. Number three, it's a small bill. It's very easy. If they get this done in December, then that means you get a check. Do you like the idea? Viewers said they did. And we started to advocate. And across the board, we woke up one morning, we're told, hey, Americans can wonder and now be exuberant that stimulus is in a continuing resolution. We looked, and it's the wrong one. It was unemployment stimulus. That was not what we asked for. And while some people were celebrating, we were not, because this is not what we asked for. We asked for a check, a stimulus check. So we pushed back and pushed to put a pure stimulus check in the continuing resolution, and it got in there. Finally, it got in there. And in December 2020, the Congress, bipartisan support, passed a continuing resolution by its inherent deadline and inserted a $600 stimulus check. It went out, and you got it in December or January of the following weeks thereafter. Ironically, second stimulus never went to final bill, never went to final vote, never became law, and never paid anyone a penny. Thank goodness for CR for stimulus created by this channel. If it was not for the creation of this CR for stimulus on this channel, millions of Americans would never have gotten a stimulus check. It was my creation. We made history. I made history. You made history. And it got done. So 3 Saturdays ago, I said, you know what? It looks a little bit like 2020. In fact, it looks exactly like 2020. 11 months of negotiations, no deal. Joe and Joe negotiating back and forth. And we need the money. We need something inserted into it. And I said, CR for stimulus once again. This time it's February 2022. Another CR is right around the corner, and we can insert that check in there. The great news is that within 1 week of that recording 3 weeks ago, the House Democrats said exactly the same thing. And this is what they said. They said, we support the forced stimulus Build Back Better Act that's been in negotiations for 11 months, but we need economic relief to go out right now. Now, economic relief is different than the Build Back Better Act because the Build Back Better Act involves your teeth, your vision, your hearing, and your wallet. So it's both social reform, welfare reform, and also economic reform. And they said we need to pass legislation. Actually, they said we need to pass pieces of legislation quickly. That comment came from the California representative, Pete Aguilar, vice chair of the Democrat caucus in the House, and said we need to pass pieces of legislation that will alleviate the supply chain and deal with issues of inflationary pressure. And we need that economic recovery to go out fast, and we may have one in 24 hours. He did. In 24 hours, 2 weeks ago, the House of Representatives passed what I call CR for Stimulus 2.0, an economic recovery package that has now been sent to the Senate, just like the Build Back Better Act. The great news is that within seconds, the Senate Republicans blasted and said we're going to merge our version, which I call CR for Stimulus 3.0, with 2.0. Wow. I have the latest updates on 2 and 3.0 in the second half of this video. Then I have the latest updates on our version 1.0. Meantime, I've been telling you for upwards of 3 months, another prediction that Vladimir Putin will invade Ukraine and cause financial turmoil to world markets and certainly oil prices at the gas pump. Well, overnight, the reports out of PBS said that the White House is advising that it believes, its intelligence, that Putin wishes and will be invading Ukraine by the end of this coming week. So that is also teeing up CR for Stimulus 4.0. I'll tell you the latest update on that in view of the breaking news about the potential invasion happening by the end of this week. Then we'll be looking at the 2 opportunities the president has to get you money on top of this. It is repurposing money, and it is also SS200 2.0. Don't understand how it works? I'll explain to the details of it, and I have my personal commentary across the board. Finally, new element of compromise? Yes. Democrats and Republicans are suddenly in a new spirit of compromise to get money to the American people. Where did this come from? And why did it change so quickly in the last 7 days? I'll go over the latest details of why you should be very excited about this and why it's a new version of Yes, Seats for Stimulus. It's all these incredible details coming up in the second half of this video. We got a big recording. Plus, I'll show you how to get tens of thousands of dollars from third stimulus that's still paying out. All that incredible money coming up in the second half of this video. Stay with me as a big afternoon's LA continues. Direct from Santa Monica, California. The excitement continues in just 60 seconds. But first, here's a little bit about the community page on LALATE if you need assistance with getting any of these sums of money. See you back in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now in the second half of a big afternoon's LA, direct from Santa Monica, California, as the House of Representatives has passed the Build Back Better Act and also has now passed CR for Stimulus 1.2.0. That House Democrats are looking to see Senate Republicans merge with 3.0. My goodness, I have all the incredible great news in the second half of this recording. Plus, we'll be looking at 4.0 in view of what's happening with the Russia-Ukraine situation. It's breaking news today on LALATE. Then we'll be turning to the big money at hand across the board with the president's opportunity to repurpose money and the SS200 that you need to know across the board. All those incredible details and more coming up in the second half of this video. I'm excited you're here, but first I want you to subscribe. Go into this video right now and subscribe. Become part of this channel. Bring this channel from number 3 most watched financial news channel in the United States to number 2. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member to get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday. The membership link is under the video. Also sign up for those LA alerts, a link to which is also under the video's description. And with that, we go into the second half with where we left off at CR for Stimulus 1, 2, and 3.0. Well, here we go. 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0. What is the latest updates? First, 1.0, CR for Stimulus 1.0, which is the opportunity to insert a stimulus check into a continuing resolution budget bill that has a deadline currently of late February, has its name in the short list of Chuck Schumer's to-do list. Chuck Schumer has a to-do list of items to be finished by the President's Day weekend, and this is among them, just a few days away, and that's why it's important to advocate. How do they get this done? Well, says Senator John Tester, Democrat from Montana, you need to have 4 senators at issue agree upon the whole price tag of the continuing resolution. They are Mitch McConnell, another Republican, Patrick Leahy, Democrat from Vermont, and Chuck Schumer, Democrat from New York. If they all agree upon the price tag, then we're done, says tester, because all you have to do is write up the CR and we're done, and we'll get it done in the month of February. So you want to advocate to Leahy and Schumer for 4 things. 1, get that continuing resolution done this month. Don't roll it over to next month. Number 2, insert a stimulus check in there. We've had your back during this pandemic. We've had your back during this entire 11 months of watching Joe and Joe negotiate the continuing the forced stimulus recon, the Build Back Better Act. You haven't gotten it done, but we still support you on it. It will get done. But we need a check now because we've been patient. You want to keep the Democrats in control of the Senate? Then get us a check. Number 3, you've done it before. You did it with CR for Stimulus 2020. You can do it again. That is the update on CR for Stimulus 1.0. 2.0. Well, Pete Aguilar passed that legislation in the House by Democrats, now sent to the Senate. And Tim Young, who is a Republican in the Senate, says, good. I'm anxious to merge it with what Senate Republicans are doing. Whoa, this is huge. Todd Young, my mistake. My hope is that the process will continue to move forward, it says Young, that the Democrats pass their House Democratic bill, but then we as senators, Republicans, can go to conference and come up with pieces of legislation that are more reflective of what we can produce in the Senate. We will work together to get this done quickly and get it done here in the Senate, and then we will get this done thereafter. So this is huge. What's going on here? It looks sort of different. It should look different. It's a new spirit of compromise that is really blanketing Congress that we did not see no less than 7 days ago. Why is this changing? It's changing because of the midterm elections. And guess what? This should not be a surprise to you. CR for Stimulus was passed in December 2020. Now, by December 2020, what had already happened? The presidential elections and all the Senate races, they had already ended. So seats for stimulus was not an issue generally, but specifically it still was. Why? The reason why they put a stimulus check in the 2020 CR is because they needed those 2 Senate seats out of Virginia to be won by Democrats 30 days thereafter in January 2021. Yeah, you see what's going on. So now that we have the midterm elections just around the corner, Republicans and Democrats saying to themselves both the same equation. I need to pass economic legislation. I can't just complain that the other party has messed up the economy. I need to fix it ourselves and show the electorate I've fixed it. So that's why they're trying to do a lot of work suddenly. This is brand new. You've never seen this before on this channel. This is Seats for Stimulus ramped up. Now, should you use Seats for Stimulus to your benefit? You can. It's a little bit different than I was even recording, 10 days ago. 10 days ago, I said Seats for Stimulus doesn't work anymore because Republicans won't give you anything. Now it's changing because Republicans do want to start giving you stuff because they all want to retain and gain new seats in their branch of Congress. So yeah, this now works. Case in point, CR for Stimulus 4.0. This is the 4th opportunity to use another small, bipartisan, quick piece of legislation. And guess what it concerns? It concerns Joe Biden dealing with Vladimir Putin. There's a lot of reasons you watch this channel, and I record stuff months before it happens. And several months ago, in these videos and the metaverse videos, I said Vladimir Putin will likely invade Ukraine. And when he does, he's going to cause financial turmoil to the world markets. They're all going to crash. Stocks are going to crash. Crypto going to crash. And your gas at the pump is going to go through the roof. And there's going to be big changes of how to do legislation across the board. Well, here we are. I have been talking about CR for Stimulus 4.0 for over a week. And now it's different today than it was yesterday. Why? CR for Stimulus is, again, another package. It's not a CR, but it is a bill in the Senate that is small, just a few hundred pages in length, bipartisan. The Democrats, Bob Menendez, and the Republicans, Marco Rubio, to sanction Russia for putting 100,000 Russian troops at the Korean border. That's how it was earlier last week. Then, by last Tuesday, we all thought that this was going to be fast track. I thought it was going to pass a week ago. They thought it was going to be passed a week ago. It wasn't. So what happened? Bob Menendez went to Chuck Schumer and said, Chuck, why are we not passing this quickly? We need to pass this before Putin invades. It was not on that short list of things for Chuck Schumer. So that was then. Finally, suddenly it went from something that looked imminent to passing, then not so imminent, causing Bob Menendez, who's very close to Chuck Schumer, to say, Chuck, I'm having lunch with you. And they did Tuesday, say, you need to get this on the short list. Now, what is happening brand new this afternoon is that in the last 24 hours, we now know via PBS that the U.S. intelligence believes Russia will invade Ukraine this coming week. They know the week, they know the day, they know how he's going to do it, and they think he's going to walk in and take it. And we don't have the CR for Stimulus 4.0 ready. Shock. This is a very bad look. You do the sanctions bill before it passes. So I think this is going to pivot very quickly. If you're on the phone advocating to Chuck about CR for Stimulus 3.0, if you're advocating to Chuck for CR for Stimulus 1.0 and Leahy, then also say, by the way, if you can't do it there, put a check into the sanctions bill. It's that simple. And that is why the situation is changing very quickly across the land. Now let's go to the President of the United States and his opportunities. Now that we've covered the CRs and the Build Back Better Act, the opportunities for Joseph Biden, your president, to get you money and to get you money with mechanisms that he has used before and that other presidents have used as well. Let's go over all the details you need to know starting right now. It starts with the concept that there is a lot of ways to get you money. And the ways to get you money are not often Congress. Now, what does the president have the ability to do, and what does the president not have the ability to do? The president cannot walk into Treasury, grab a wad of cash, and mail it out to you. Executive order is just a very seductive term, but it often is misused. President cannot throw cash out at you from Department of Treasury. What the president can do is, one, repurpose money from existing programs that have expired and send that money out to you, or tell agencies to consider changing benchmarks, guidelines, so that you get more of those benefits. First, let's go over the concept of repurposing existing sums of money. It came to this channel in 2020. In the middle of the pandemic, this channel was making hundreds of recordings about unemployment benefits since day one on April 25th. But after months, FPUC ran out. That was that boost of $600 and went on top of your UI and PUA. To get more weeks of unemployment benefits, FPUC, what would you have to do normally? You would go to Congress and say, Congress, I need more money of this. I want you to pass it. Well, Donald Trump and anyone else that was watching the situation at the time said Congress was a mess and that couldn't get done that way. So what did Trump do? He looked around to see who had extra wads of cash sitting around in government agencies he could repurpose the money for. And he found it in FEMA. FEMA? Yes, FEMA had programs established under the pandemic. Those programs had expired, but the cash was still there. Well, the president has the inherent authority to repurpose that money for programs that have now expired, but have cash sitting around for other purposes. So he picked up the phone and called FEMA, said, you're turning this into LWA, which is going to be a replacement for FPUC. No act of Congress needed. Checks went out, and it was a reality. Very, very simple. Then Donald Trump really had the biggest blunder of his political career when he passed up the second opportunity to do this later that year. That opportunity was when a confirmed $550 billion was sitting at SBA for its programs, then expired, could be repurposed as two stimulus checks. Imagine if you got two stimulus checks in your hand right before you vote for who's president, and one of the guys gave you the money and the other didn't. I think your opinion would be very strong for the guy who gave you checks. He didn't do it, Donald, and this money was averted and went somewhere else, and that was the end of it. And I think it cost him the election. So Joseph Biden can do this right now. All he has to do is find that money and then tell the agency, repurpose the money, send it out, and away we go. Very simple across the board. Now, Joseph Biden has another opportunity, and that is changing benchmarks. And that changing benchmarks is a little bit even more simplistic. How do you change benchmarks? He doesn't change them. He just encourages other people to change them. Let's go over the details. FEMA, SBA, Department of Agriculture, Social Security Administration. They are federal agencies. They are established in charter agreements that says, you know what? However you want to do it, you do it. I don't need Congress to tell me how to tie my shoelace. The agency determines it. You don't need Congress to tell you how to pour a cup of coffee. You determine it. And so ultimately, they determine how they do things. The President of the United States, however, can pick up the phone and say, I don't like the way you're doing something. And they do it all the time. If you're watching this channel a year ago this month, you saw when Joseph Biden picked up the phone and contacted the then Commissioner of Social Security, Commissioner Saul, a Donald Trump appointee. You are not getting your third stimulus check, and Biden believed that and other problems were coming from Commissioner Saul. He said change it. He didn't, and he got fired. Joe Biden put his commissioner in there to replace it. So what does Joe Biden have to do? Just pick up the phone and contact his replacement at Social Security and say, you know what? I have a suggestion for you. And my suggestion is the following. Has Joe Biden done this before? He has done this before. He picked up the phone and contacted the Department of Agriculture back in October last year, saying, I have a suggestion for you. I'm on the phone right now, and you know what? You're not paying enough money for SNAP. I want you to pay more money. And they did. They pay you a lot more money, upwards of 25% lifetime, because of that phone call from Joe Biden. Now, what does he have to do this time around? Contact the Social Security Administrator and say, hey, replace COLA with inflation. And do it 30 days from now. And guess what? Guess what, folks? That kid from Los Angeles that wears the purple shirts is showing you how Joe Biden can do this, and less than 30 days out, your benefits will go up $200 more per month, more than Elizabeth Warren represented during her political campaign. This is SS200 2.0, and we're going to go over all the details of it right now. And boy, it's ever better than you ever thought. In January 2020, Liz Warren was running for president, and she proposed SS200 as part of her overhaul of the Social Security Administration. She wanted to remove the marriage penalty, needs an act of Congress, wanted to remove the income cap, act of Congress, the asset cap, act of Congress, but also want to raise your benefits up with a new benchmark, doesn't need an act of Congress. Then she withdrew from her run for president after having this same policy be introduced during discussion on the Senate floor by Ron Wyden and Chuck Schumer. Someone today said, who to advocate to about this? I said, Liz, because it started with Liz, Ron Wyden, because he came right behind her, just seconds behind her, and then Joe Biden. After Liz withdrew for her run for presidency, Joe said, you know what? I loved Liz's policies. I'm going to adopt them and be mine as well for Social Security. He wrote it. He said it. He won. Then in his transition papers, you can still read yourself at joebiden.com. His transition papers from president-elect to then president. He writes he's going to give you additional $200 a month if you're on benefits. He didn't deliver. A month goes by, and then Democratic senators say, what's going on here? We're going to start doing it as fifth stimulus recon. Additional recon that would come this year that would fix and revamp the Social Security Administration. Hasn't happened. And that's why, after 2 years, I said, you know what? It's time for me to fix this one as well. The way we fix this is by Joe Biden picking up the phone and contacting the Social Security Administrator, saying replace COLA with inflation. And that, my friends, will give you $200 a month, SS200, as Liz and Joe promise, not for 6 to 12 months like they promise, but lifetime, $2,400 a year. Let's go over first how much money this is, how it works, and why it's so great, and then my commentary about the situation as well. So, how does this work? Your benefits are based upon benchmarks, and those benchmarks are determined every December for the next year. The benchmark for decades has been COLA. It doesn't work because year after year, it's just flat. So if you look at your check between the year 2014 and 15, same. 15, 16, maybe the same. 17, 18, maybe the same. Last year went up 5.9%. Whoopee, because it's been flat for many years, and you should have been going up every single year. The only reason 5.9% was the COLA numbers because inflation was out of control in December of last year. So the concept is that inflation goes up and mirrors exactly how much it costs more for you to live. You buy milk, eggs, gasoline. That's inflation. If they go up, you get more checks, you get more benefits. So, how would this functionally work? Let's first go over the money of it, and then we'll go over how it works. The money of it is that if you do this 30 days out, you'll see $200 more per month in that check in the mail. Over a year, it'll be $2,400 more per year, and that is lifetime. And that, I haven't made very clear to you yet, is just this year. I don't think I've made that clear to you. Let me explain what's at issue. Your benefits, let's say, were a dollar value in December 2021. COLA, 5.9%. So your benefits went up 5.9% January 2022. This seeks to replace it with inflation, which is now at about 7.5%. It's about 2% more. So you're going to go up another 200%, just $200 in 30 days, just once this gets adopted, if Joe Biden does it, for this year, lifetime. But if inflation, let's say next December is 3%, you'll go up a little bit more. And you'll keep on going up, because once you go up, you never go down. Now let's go over the functionality of this and why this makes so much sense. Inflation is a gauge of where this economy is going. One person on the live chat last night said, hey, can you tell me what happened with CPI? There's been so much going on in the news in the last 3 days. I cannot get everything into these recordings. But the consumer price index number showed inflation still hot. There was a more important report that I detailed for you for inflation last night. I'm going to show it to you tonight as well. Is that a major supplier of goods, shipper in the ports, in the oceans, says that inflation is going to be strong all the way to second quarter 2022. Is not going to ease down this month, next month, or this quarter at all. Guess who told you that? Well, me. In spring of 2021, Federal Reserve was saying that inflation was going to come in December 2021 at 1 or 2% and then go back down. I said wrong. Wall Street says it's going to come in at 2 to 3% and then go back down. I said wrong. I said it's going to come in at 8% and stay up there for several months. I was right. 7.5% was the inflation rate announced last month. And the current indication is that it may stay there or even maybe even a little bit higher this month and may stay that way for 6 months this year. That's why you want this SS200. Now, my commentary about SS200, and I'm going to come in a polite but also a tough love way as well. I've been making a lot of recordings over since January 25th, 2020. And there's one type of comment that I sporadically see, sometimes in sort of a cluster, and then I don't see that for a few weeks. And every time I see it, it just baffles me. And where does it come from? It comes from people on SSI and SSDI. The comment is so illogical that I really want to hit really hard one time in this video and hopefully put it to rest. The comment is the following. You want to give us more money for that thing we've been advocating for more money for, that we've been asking for years? You want to give it to us? I don't want it. Excuse me? What? I don't want it because it's going to be bad for something else. Okay. Let's take it back a notch. I can tell you back in 2020, 2021, we sometimes had in the comments, 99% of the comments were whatever happened about SS200. Everyone wants it. Everyone wants SS200. Everyone's doing $200 more per month on their benefits. But then as you get very close to potentially come up with an idea or solution or getting it out the door, then suddenly people pivot and say, not a lot of people, just a very small smidgen, I don't want it because it's going to hurt something else. Wait a second. 99% of the time, their rationale is wrong. That's the first thing. Number two, don't keep on thinking that something good is something bad. I don't know where this mentality is, and that's what I'm trying to address. Don't run this thought process that something good for you is something bad for you. Cash is cash. So don't pivot and suddenly think it's bad. And there you go. Now, let's go over to third stimulus. This is great news as well. Third stimulus is still paying out money, and boy, is it paying a lot. Viewers are getting $10,000 to $20,000 each this week, and I want to show you how to get that money. If you're not a member of this channel, go right on this video right now, become a member. If you are, pull out the newsletter and follow along with me right now. The rent The utilities, the SNAP, these massive sums of money are still being paid out, even though third stimulus became law in spring 2020. If there's one thing, 2021, if there's one thing I know, it's how to get people money. This channel's gotten people over $15 million because my dedication on this channel is getting you money. It's not just reporting what Vladimir is doing or what Ukraine is doing. It's to get you money. Here's the money I got viewers for Rent Back in October. These are my viewers. This is what they got. They reported it. But now the numbers have gone up to $40,000. So get your pen and paper ready. I'll show you how to get this big sums of money right now. City Hall, City House Authority. County Hall, County House Authority. State Hall, State House Authority. As a keyword, you can say a rent assistance because of COVID. Mortgage utility assistance because of COVID. 3 things you must do. You must reach out to all 6 places. You must get multiple rounds, and you must get multiple applications on file. You want to do that round out as far as possible into potentially May. More about that tonight on Evenings LA. You want to get utility assistance because of COVID. Mark's brother-in-law is getting $15,000 a year. SNAP, you want to get as well. Boy, this is money for your food. Mark's brother-in-law is getting $25,000 a year because of my recordings lifetime. Over 10 years, it's going to be $250,000. You want to get 3 items or more. Nisi got 3 items, and Art Sullivan got 3 items. They inspired a whole generation of viewers. Here's Mark. At 2, I said, Mark, where's your third? Excuse me, here was Mark at 2, 32,000. I said, Mark, where's your third? He went to 50,000. Now he's at over 100,000. Lorraine, she said 105, then she went to 120. And with that, we go into the final elements of tonight's video, which is on Evenings LA tonight. I'm going to go over more about the incredible provisions that are in the Build Back Better Act. This is just some of them, and I go over them tonight. What I want you to know is that we have lots of checks and a lot of different programs. First, not government programs, not TV programs. The checks in the Build Back Better Act, lots of different checks that pay up somewhere between $15,000 to $60,000. All those checks that were put in there by the House members back in 2021, they're still in there. The Senate just vowed to add more checks on top of that. You need to know each of those because once it becomes law, it's first come, first serve. Second, CR for stimulus 1, 2, 3, and 4.0 all heating up. The situation is very fluid and changing by the minute, so stay with me. This is a ticking stopwatch. Situation is changing. CR 1.0 will definitely be different by the end of the week. We'll see what the latest update is that in 1 week. Then 2 and 3, very interesting. 4 may change in 48 hours. 4.0 may change in 48 hours. It's that fluid a situation, changing by the minute. The president's opportunity to repurpose the money. If you find extra sums of money, send it to me in private messaging. And then the SS200, yes, advocate to Wyden, Liz, Joe, his chief of staff, Ron Klain. One viewer saying, who do I advocate to? Thank you for that incredible question. There's the answer across the board. Finally, I want you to be informed. Along the way, along the steps, my viewers have differentiated themselves from others because the more information I give you, the more you learn. And then I give you more information and you learn on top of that. Your ability to grasp information, become educated, become savvy, become sophisticated, be able to advocate, be able to explain the situation to others, makes you different from all the rest. Let me say this in another context. A person who just comes into a video and sort of wants to understand everything in 1 sentence, in 7 words, they haven't learned anything. They haven't learned anything. The reason why the video is more than 60 seconds is because there's a lot to learn here. And the way you make money is you learn. Whether it is an EIDL grant, how you do it correctly, or an EIDL loan, or a PPP application or PUA, learning comes from listening and applying it to your situation. I had a lot of people initially who couldn't get over the emotional hump of picking up the phone and contacting City Hall, City House Authority. They did it. Then they've done it 2-3 times. You could do it as well. This is where the motivational factor of this channel comes in. You need to motivate someone else in the live chat, motivate them across the board. A person who doesn't want to learn, doesn't want to check, doesn't want to apply the information, just wants to sit back and say, are the donuts donuting? Is the Mitch mitching? Is the bacon baconing? Is the Bob bobbing? You know, Is the Crayola Crayoling? Is the Dragon dragging? Is the yaing? They don't learn a lot if that's all they're doing is waiting for the donuts to donating. What you need to do is apply the information. And with that, join me next as we learn more about how to apply the information on 18 Satellite. Heats up at 5 o'clock, then 6, 7, 8 o'clock. We go into our overnight shows at 9, 10, 11:30. And with that, subscribe, like the video, and stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LALATE for more.